Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make vintage guitar samples for somebody like Young Thug. I went back and I re-listened to his most recent album, Punk. A lot of the samples on that album are just straight guitar and they sound really vintage and like kind of unique. I've really been messing around with this new bundle that I just dropped with two called Nebula. So besides the guitar starter that I start with, every sound in this sample is from either the Analog Lab Bank or the one-shot kit. Go ahead and leave a link down in the description for that if you're interested. But anyways, don't forget to subscribe and let's get right into it. Alright, so as you can see, I got the sample pulled up here. We're sitting at 97 BPM and the final sample is in G minor. I think I started in C minor, so everything I'm going to be showing is going to be in C minor, and then at the very end I mess with the pitch. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just play the sample so you guys can hear how it sounds, and then as usual just break down everything I did to make it. Yeah, as you can hear, it sounds really vintage, really has a lot of weird like textures and effects on it. Like I said, I really got heavily inspired by that Young Thug album, even though I know I'm late. Came out like a few months ago. But first thing I did is I started with this guitar starter from Alyx. Got his @ right there, shout out Alyx. He sent this through and we're sitting at C minor with the original sample, and what I did is I just pitched it down 2 semitones. So we went from C minor to A sharp minor. And then I added this effect rack plugin right here. It's from the Minta Foundry presets, a lot of good effects. So I went with this RIP RC20 preset, and I'll go ahead and play how it sounds without that so you can hear it, and then I'll play it with the effects so you can hear how it kind of changes it. Yeah, you can hear it sounds really clean. He killed that starter. But when I add this, it just adds a lot of texture and a lot of weird effects. Yeah, it just makes it sound a lot more unique. Alright, so the next thing I did once I had the guitar is I got this key from the Nebula one-shot kit, and it just sounds like this. I like how it has that little sound at the end, that little texture, because when I made this pattern, it just kind of added this weird like background texture that I liked. So anyway, I came up with this simple pattern right here. I started at the root note, A sharp. Like I said, we're starting at A sharp minor. I just put this other note at F, and then I came up with this little pattern in between. Like I said, I don't know music theory. I just go by what sounds good. So this sounded good to me. And then what I did is I copied that over. I pitched it down like this, pitched it down 4 semitones, kind of mess around with these notes to make it fit the key and whatever sounded good, and then literally just copy and pasted that over. I'll go ahead and play how it sounds. Yeah, and then like I said, that just repeats throughout it. And then for the effects, I added effect rack for this ambient dotted eighth delay preset. Added this reverb, and then I added an EQ to take out some of the lows and some of the highs. Next thing I did is I added this pad. This is also from the Nebula one-shot kit. I laid down this really simple pattern right here, and what I did though that's kind of unique is I added this channel volume automation. What this does is it controls the volume of the sound. You can make the sound come in harder at certain points or like go down at certain points. So I made the pad kind of go in and out. I'll go ahead and just play how that sounds by itself. Yeah, you can hear how it kind of like fades in and then stops and then fades in and stops. For the effects, I just added a reverb, and that's literally it. Next thing I did is I added this vocal right here. This is also from the Nebula one-shot kit. I think I used it in my last tutorial. And all I did is I just pitched it down 2 semitones to make it fit the key of the rest of the sample, and then I made sure that it fit on the grid right here. So I stretched it, and then I put it to its own mixer track, and I added some effects. I added the effect rack is glitching. I think I had one of these presets on. I think it was the stereo glitch. Yeah, effect rack is being weird, but I had that preset on it, and then I added thermal with the saturated spread. Kind of add some like distortion to the vocals, and then fresh air to boost some of the highs, and then an EQ to also boost some of the high mids. Like I said, I really got heavily inspired by that Young Thug album, and I wanted to add some more accents and like textures to make it sound like the album. I went ahead and I added this texture right here. This is just an accent from the one-shot kit. kind of like a snare, but just way in the background. And then I added this texture that's also from Nebula. It just sounds like white noise. Yeah, I just threw that in there. And then at the very end down here, once I like messed with the pitch of the sample and everything, I added another texture, this accent, and that just repeats throughout the whole sample as well. But yeah, and the last thing I did is I added this bass right here. This is also a one-shot from the Nebula bank. Pretty much every sound that I added in here is from the one-shot kit. This is a pattern I came up with. I just kind of followed the root note of the guitar sample, and like I said, I don't know music theory, so I just went by ear. That's something that if you don't know music theory, you're gonna have to kind of learn just through repetition. You kind of learn what sounds good, what works together. For the effects, I just added Decapitator with this preset. I just add some distortion to it. So once I had all the sounds that I wanted, I just arranged the sample with the bass at the beginning and then a part with no bass at the end. And then I took the stems and I laid them out after the sample as usual. So whoever uses a sample, they can use the part of the sample with the bass or without. They can use it as it is, or they can use the stems to arrange it how they want. And then I just rendered it out. I pitched it down 3 semitones. So we went from C minor to A sharp minor. And then I pitched it down 3 more here. So we went from A sharp to G minor, and I just put it to its own mixer track and I added some effects to it. I added virtual tape machine just to make it sound more vintage. I added a soothe to take out some of the unwanted frequencies in the low end, added an EQ to take out the very low end, and then some other frequencies in the high mid that I didn't want. And then I added a limiter to make sure that the guitar wasn't peaking too much. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the sample. Like I said, heavily inspired by that Young Thug album, and nothing too crazy, just a really simple key and pad pattern to kind of complement the guitar with the vocals in the background and the accents and the textures. Just kept it simple, and it really comes down to the effects and the textures that make it sound a lot more unique. But anyways, yeah, that's how I approach making guitar samples for somebody like Young Thug. Like I said, I'll leave a link down in the description for the one-shot kit that I use in this video if you're interested in that. But anyways, hopefully you learned something, hopefully you took something away, and I'll see you in the next video.